Assalamu alaikum, viewers, and welcome to another episode of Digital Natives. I've been your humble host so far and still remain your humble host, Sami Mohamud. Today, I have two wonderful guests. You might have seen them before, but without further ado, I'll let them reintroduce themselves, starting with the lady on my right.
My name is Sophia Obile. I work for a training firm and I'm an HR personnel and professional. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Sophia. And on my left, I have...
My name is Amal Saeed. I'm a consultant with New Dawn Resources and Waste Management.
All right. Thank you, Sahid, for coming to the show. Today's topic is a very familiar one with those of you at home, I'm very sure. It's dealing with the issue of experience and age. And in more particular, my question today is, can experience be measured by age? And just to explain it a bit further, I came up with this question because a lot of times I get into situations or little issues, and then when I'm speaking to an elder and I need advice, the biggest statement is, I've been on this earth longer than you, so I understand this situation. And sometimes I always find out that in some situations when I'm speaking to this elder, I can see discrepancies with what they're saying and what I'm experiencing, or I can see that even if they claim to be older than me, they're not really as experienced as I am in this particular kind of issue that they're claiming to have more experience. So, just to start with, I would like both of you to be able to tell me what you understand by experience.
Okay. I would say that experience is the duration of time that is spent on a certain issue or project or whatever endeavor it is you find yourself doing. It's what you take from it, from that time spent on it. Yeah.
Do you have anything to contribute?
No, she didn't.
Okay, so from that definition, we're basing experience based on the amount of time spent on something.
And what you take from it.
But what if I also said to you that experience doesn't necessarily have to be the amount of time, but just the moment that something happens and it becomes an experience?
Yes, like
you also agree with that?
Yes, for example, I fell off a bike once, so I never have to do that again. So yes, I have
the experience. You've not ridden a bike since then?
No, I was banned, then, but it's not possible. So yeah, so I have the experience.
Okay. How can experience be gotten?
Like she said, experience is a duration where if you put yourself through the process, you gain experience. Now, that is not the only factor that determines experience. Well, there are everyone has experience.
Yes.
You go out to walk down the street, like she said, she went on a bike. A lot of millions of people on a bike right now going through that experience. But what determines the importance of the experience is the quality, reflection. There's something I read recently. It said reflection turns experience into insight. A lot of people go through experience, over and over some experience, especially me. There are some things I've done so many times, I've failed so many times, where I'm experiencing it, but I did not stop it.
Yeah.
But at a point in time when I get fed up, I realize this is the same thing I did last year, the year before. Then reflecting on that experience now turns into insight. Okay, now I have to stop. I have to stop.
So if I should just continue on what you're saying, does reflection now complete the whole experience?
Yes, reflection does exist. So that is where it comes with age.
Right.
Someone who's 70 years old, who has been experiencing the same thing over time, that does not reflect on it, is not as experienced as someone who's 20, that spends just a few months but reflects on it.
I like that. I like that answer. Okay, so my next question would be, does the level of experience one gets determine the level of respect they demand or the level of respect they should get?
Yes, I'd like to answer that. So the level of respect one gets, I think it's dependent on a lot of things. For example, when you look at the society we find ourselves in, we automatically believe that because you are older and you've seen more, in quotes, so you are worthy of that respect. And to a large extent, that's okay. That's a fine notion to have. However, I think we may have to start looking at it from another angle, in the sense that, one, we are all deserving of respect. That's one. All experiences are valid, and so I think if we can look at it, it's more of a balance of two things. If we can look at it from both sides, I absolutely have no issues with respecting other people, respecting the time they've spent doing things and all of that. So, that would be my response to that question.
Yeah, like she said, there has to be a balance.
Yeah.
There has to be a balance. Well, we live in a culture where someone who's older means he has spent more time than you on earth, believes he deserves more respect. But that age, to me, that age should not be the defining factor to get respect. To get respect, they say, give respect to get respect.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because I'm older than you and I have more experience, with that experience should come some valuable lessons, like humbleness. Like humbleness, I should not just cheat you. I should not perform an act of injustice against you. Force my ideals on you. Ideals that I slaved to get. And I see someone who's going through the same process that I went through. I should be able to have some form of humbleness in the way I'm approaching you.
Yeah, all right. I feel like that takes us to our next question because they're a bit similar. What should now become more respectful? And this is something that I would like to take after the break. So please do stick around. This is still Aleeftvng and your show is still Digital Native. Welcome back to the show. It's still Digital Natives, and I'm still your host, Sami Mohamud. I still have with me also
Sophia. Yes.
Oh, no, that's all right.
Okay.
I've got Sophia and
Yeah.
Sahid with me still on the show.
Okay.
And we've been talking about experience and whether it can be a determinant, whether experience can be measured by age. And right before the break, we were discussing whether the experience one has determines the level of respect they deserve or with the level of respect they should get. And I kind of like how before all of that you said something about the level of reflection somebody gives towards the experience is what completes the experience. Yeah. So now I want to ask you guys what should actually be respected, especially in our society now. Is it the age somebody is trying to tell you that they are, or the experience they're bringing to the table?
Age
or experience.
Yeah. Which should I respect?
Yes.
There has to be a balance between both of them. If I come across someone who has the age, who has experience, but is very arrogant, I'm not going to give that person my respect. It's not going to earn my respect. I'd rather respect someone who has age, little experience, but has a humbleness.
Yes.
Exactly. I'd rather give that person my experience. But if I were now to choose between someone who has age and who has experience, I'll go with experience.
Okay.
I'll go with experience.
But then, okay, let me ask you this now. If you saw a 10-year-old and you were discussing together, I don't know how you've been in that setting, but you and him were discussing, right? And on this particular topic, you find out that this 10-year-old boy is knows more than he can give you sights and everything. Do you feel yourself actually now respecting this boy for his experience, or you still see him as he's just a 10-year-old?
I'll see him as a 10-year-old who has earned my respect.
Okay, I like that. I like that because I feel like in this Nigeria that we are, like, the elders really look at age rather than the experience. Because I know that I've been in a situation where this guy was talking about one story, right? And then he was mentioning the ages of people around him. So he was mentioning they were 30. He now got to the last person, and the last person was 25. And he said, we're now with one small boy. He was 25. And I was like, 25, small boy. So at what age do you now consider that this person is mature, this person has grown? But anyways,
you always be small to an older person, even if you're 60. Yeah. So I think that every experience is relevant, and coming from the HR perspective, because that's my forte. You know, when we look at recruitment, when we look at giving people jobs and employing people, you see the job advert and you see the number of experience that is required.
Yeah.
You know, experience is very important. And the interesting part is they also put the age that they
They'll still
want.
limit
They
the
still
age
put the
With that,
age
it's
with
true,
the
it's
number of
true.
experience.
Experience
So
they want.
I think, but then again, I think it depends on the level in which you are in your career. When you're just starting out, they want someone that is young, that is
Yeah.
teachable, you know, so you have to be able to soak in their culture and all of
Yeah,
that.
true.
But
I
by the
agree.
time they want you to be at a supervisory role, to be managing people, managing resources, then you have to have experience. And I have to tell you, it does not matter if you're 40 or you're 30. If you can bring whatever you have from your experience to the table,
Yeah.
you're good
And
to
it's
go.
valuable as
Yeah.
well. But then even just in a job setting now, actually,
Yeah.
this is one question I've always just, and thank God you're actually here. When they say, oh, we need this level of experience,
Yeah.
but you don't have the amount of years, but you know that even if your 1 year experience that you have in this particular field,
Yes.
it can best anybody with their 5 or 10 years. Why is it that just the amount of years of experience is still more important? Like, you can't give a person a chance if he doesn't have that amount.
Well, that's because usually you're the exception, not the rule. I would say
okay.
if you feel that you can still make it work and you are up to the task, go ahead, apply, write a, wonderful cover letter, letting them know why they should invite you to the interview. Because when you do that, when you get your foot in the door to that interview stage, you can now defend yourself face to face and say, this is what I bring to the table. But because there are millions of applications, they don't want, someone who has not done NYSC applying, and they have 20,000 people applying, and sieving it out is just...
That's actually true.
Yeah.
That's
You
actually
need
so
proof.
true. Yeah.
Just need
Yeah,
proof.
they just want to know that you can do it.
Okay, so let me ask this question now. Without age or experience, what else can determine the value of someone?
What else can determine the value of someone?
Quality of their thoughts.
Doesn't that fall under the experience? Because they would have gotten those quality of thoughts through the experience they
True.
go through.
True, but however, I mean, I still think you talk to some young people.
Quality of that thought.
Yeah.
Also, the way they communicate that thought, I think, is even the most important.
Yeah, okay.
The most important, because, like, our elders these days, we won't talk about elders in the political realm. We talk about the politicians, the ones that are at the top. They have a lot of experience, both positive, both negative, but they are holding it for themselves. They are not passing it down to anybody.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's
so
because they think poorly.
Yeah.
That's because they think...
they think poorly.
Yeah.
Even those who don't want to pass it, like even our day-to-day uncle, auntie, when they want to pass, the way they will communicate it will push you away from whatever they're telling you to do.
Okay. So if you give me a word you can use to describe all you said now,
Okay.
to determine the value.
To determine the value.
Yeah.
Okay. I said communication.
Yeah.
Okay.
So good communication skills.
Yes, good communication skills.
All right. Okay.
And patience.
Patience.
I
Yes,
think
like that.
basically your values, your value system,
Principles.
your principles, what's
Yeah.
important to you, and how you live your life based off of that.
But then not everybody has the same principles, though.
You
so-
don't have to have the same principles.
But what if what you consider a good principle, somebody else considers a bad principle?
Well, at the end of the day, that's why we have, things to guide us. We have moral systems that are still general and basic across all. For example, it doesn't matter what religion or what background, whatever that you may be coming from, you cannot steal and you cannot kill someone. So if you don't think it's important or you don't think it's a big deal, then, well, I don't know. I'm not saying you're less of a valuable person, but in my eyes, you are not as important.
All right. I mean, for me, without age or experience, I think the one thing I always look into someone is I think you've actually been speaking about this, humility, just how they relate with the other person. Because I feel like humility is the biggest issue that Nigerians have. Like, we're always ready to stand on somebody's shoulders for our own benefit.
Prove
And I
superiority.
And I feel like we need to find a way as a society to be able to gel without always trying to, first of all, count whether this person has it more than you or has it less than you, in no matter what kind of... Anyways,
I always say that it's a factor of wisdom, how wise you are.
Wisdom.
Although we, in
Wisdom.
Nigeria and all of that, we seem to think that it comes with age, but it may not, it's not always dependent
But
on
you're right,
age.
age is a
Yeah.
factor.
Yeah, but if
Age
you
is a
are
factor.
wise, you will know that you have to be humble. You will know. Yeah.
Okay, so let me ask this: is there any way that this subject of experience and age,
Yeah.
can we now get it into a broader so I wanted to ask something that can we start teaching it in our schools more or less, that learn to value your experiences and learn from it, because that's what would actually help you mature, not that, because I feel like in schools they're taught that, oh, wait until you're 18, then you can be an adult, you can make, but people don't understand that no, even a 10-year-old person is valuable to
Yes,
society. They just have to.
definitely.
So what do you think can be done in maybe the educational systems, or even if it's the media?
We need to train our trainers. We need to teach our teachers to teach the right things, because excuse me, they're the ones, and the parents as well, they're the ones spending most of the hours of the day with these children.
True.
Excuse me. So yeah, so if they are teaching them to only respect age, only respect the elderly, only respect those that are older than you, then that is where all of us will get that mentality from. But if they are saying, no, you need to value your experiences, go volunteer somewhere, and I strongly believe in the value of volunteering. From a young age, go and experience life. Go out and volunteer your time for free. Do things and learn from them. What have you learned? Keep a journal. Do all of this from a young age. Then you would know that experience is not just about age.
All right. Thank
Yeah.
you very much, Sophia. We'll be going on another short break at the moment. This is still Digital Natives. I'm still your host, Sami Mohamud. Welcome back to the show. It's still Digital Natives, and we've been talking about whether or not experience can be measured by age, and I've been doing that with my lovely guests, Sophia and Sahid. We've also touched on whether or not experience or age matters when evaluating or putting value to someone. And from the general discussion that's been happening, one thing that's clear is there should be a balance between both of them. While in the society that we live in, age is such a big factor, that should still remain. But however, we should still learn to give someone value for their experiences, no matter their age, whether or not they're 10 or whether or not they're 60. And just before the age, I threw a question out there, which was me trying to find out how we can change the discourse for the next generation and make them put this balance that I just spoke about. Do you have anything that you want to contribute to?
Yes, for there to be changes where this balance I've been talking about between age and experience before it is met, it has to start from the grassroots. Like she said, it has to start from the schools where the trainers, the teachers have to learn. They have to learn the values of knowing how to channel experience, how to channel respect in respect to experience and age, how to pass it on to the kids. Also from the homes, our parents, they need to know how to have that wisdom to understand that, okay, yes, they have experience, and they wish we know that experience from just the word of mouth. And they also need to give us the room to make our own mistake, fail, then they should have their own love and embracing arms to welcome us in when we make that mistake.
Yeah. But I feel like with the Nigerian parents, that's such a hard task.
It's difficult because even though I'm not old or anything, I do mentor younger people, and I understand that I can understand from the older people's perspective, in the sense that there are some mistakes or experiences that are just not worth repeating. So you want your ward or whoever it is to learn the value of that experience, learn the values, what's important, the lessons, without having to go through it. And I would like to give an example of divorce.
Okay.
If I say to someone, open your eyes before getting married, do your due diligence, do not just let your heart. I'm just saying, I may be talking from experience, or where, the other person may be talking from experience, in the sense that they don't want you to go through that pain of what they've gone through. And it's just an example, but there are other examples that we can look at it from. So while it is important, let us make our mistakes. Let's be given the room, the opportunity, the freedom. Still, let's also be humble enough to say, yes, this person may not be giving me the message in the manner that I may want to receive it. And let's also be wise enough to know that some mistakes are not, or some experiences are not worth it.
But this is something I can actually relate to, not the divorce topic, right?
Yeah,
but
I
just
understand.
with parenting.
Yeah.
I know that each set of parents grows up in a different generation than the next. So, me as a parent, I know I'm going to raise my child in a very different era compared to mine.
Yes.
So I always feel like, and not that I'm telling a parent how to raise a child, but
Of course.
the duty of a parent should always be more on just being a guiding figure
Yes.
rather than an authoritative figure, which is what I
Absolutely.
feel like a lot of Nigerian parents are. They just want to be authoritative. They don't want that because of that whole, okay, you don't want your child to go through this bad experience.
Yes.
They force it. And to be honest, what you find out is in most cases, when a parent is being forceful about what they're trying to teach their word or what they're trying, that's when the child goes
in
ahead
the,
to
yeah,
drives them
in that
that's
direction.
what makes them actually go into doing what they're told.
Well,
not to do.
the interesting part is it's easy for a lot of us to say we are going to do this or we are going to be like this.
Yeah.
But the way we are wired is we act in the way that we know how to act. So because we were parented in a, if that's a word, in a certain manner, usually it's not just about what you want to do. You find yourself doing what your parents did.
Yeah.
So you have to be very deliberate. If you say you don't want to be like
That's
someone,
it.
it's not just by mouth, as
Yeah.
we say. You have to be very deliberate in the sense that you have to learn, you have to go to who knows, you have to, you have to be deliberate, really, like I said. Because the way we are wired is, for example, if I don't know why I keep having these big, serious examples, but if your father was an alcoholic, let's say he's passed or maybe he's alive, he was an alcoholic and he was a woman beater, you could swear that you may not be one, but if you're not careful,
can
you
find
have
yourself
predispositions
repeating
to be.
That's actually
That's it.
very truthful because I've forgotten what the phrase is, but life repeats itself, history repeats itself.
In a
Actually,
very
that's
funny
it.
way.
So, all right. I just want to just round up now with this question. So, as a parent, how do you now guide your child into actually coming to you when they have issues and actually knowing that, okay, if I speak to this child, he would listen, and
I think I'll take that.
Yeah.
How do I guide my child? So that you
Without
don't
necessarily also using your age or
exactly without being
authoritative. Yeah.
Exactly. So before I can guide someone, I have to be guided myself.
Yeah.
And
I
before
like that. I like
exactly, and before I can be guided myself, I have to rewire, because she said something that yes, there is a tendency for someone to repeat a mistake that you've been saying you will never make.
Yeah.
So I have to rewire myself that because my parents were authoritative towards me, even if I'm saying I won't be authoritative towards my own kids, I have to realize that it's there already in my subconscious.
Exactly.
It's there already deep in my subconscious. So I have to be very, very mindful.
Yeah.
So I have to take maybe little practices before I even get to the point where I have kids. Maybe the way I relate to my brother, the way I relate to my fellow man, that I'm trying to
Nephews,
pass. Exactly.
nieces.
So I'll use that process to re-educate myself, reprogram myself, so that when I get to that spot, I'll just let it. Even the way they will see me relate to other people. When other people come to me for advice, and my kids are there watching, there is no way I will give them advice they will not take it.
That's true. I like that.
They just want the best.
They just want the best.
It's been a very wonderful episode. I hope those of you who have been at home have enjoyed every minute of it. And until the next time, this is still Digital Natives. I still remain your humble host, Sami Muhammad. Keep watching Aleeftv.